Hi there, welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where we have had a slight delay, a technical issue, just affecting the output a little bit, but you haven't missed any darts. We have paused play to make sure of that ahead of the next match, which is a meeting between the two Dutchmen, Willem Mandigers and Richard Veenstra. Veenstra is unbeaten today, looking to keep it tight at the top between himself and Chris Landman, the other Dutch player in this group. And in his way is Mandigers, who's looking for win number 3 of his 4 fixtures so far today. So to take you through this one, we are going to rejoin our commentary team of Glenn Durrant and Matthew Edgar.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Yeah, don't blink or you'll miss this match. We were looking at records yesterday of how quickly this game was taken. Both like to get on with it. Very, very fluent players. They've played each other 3 times on the circuit. I played again yesterday, obviously, and Richard Veenstra has won every single one of them. So if you are having a punt, you might want to take that into consideration. But just remember, gamble responsible. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Okay, first leg, it's Willem to throw first.
If we're talking about the prices as well, this is one of those games where Willem has came in the prices. Obviously, this morning, they judged that on yesterday's play. And the prices have changed, but I still think, regardless of what we've seen in terms of Willem, this game is all about Richard Veenstra.
60.
The only sort of defence I can give for Willem right now is he knows he's not going to finish top. Seeing Adam win that last game as well, even getting to 3rd place, could be a tough task.
59.
You'd like to think. I don't know if he's a better player with a bit of adrenaline running through his body, or if he's better just being a super relaxed, efficient player. Maybe that's something I can ask him there, but I just felt that that game against Landman was a real opportunity for many reasons. And he didn't capitalise on it, and he was nowhere near like he was early in the day. And maybe someone who is struggling with fatigue. We did talk about he hasn't been playing a lot of darts.
96.
And I guess he's the one that sort of dipped form as the days progresses, the past couple of days.
Well, this was Veenstra's best performance of the day yesterday. Average just shy of 100, 3 180s. Mandigers didn't really turn up too well in that. And you always wonder if there's a little bit of a backstory sometimes when two people know each other so well. Like, do they play quite locally? Is one of these more of a character that's able to win a bit of a banter war and just get in the head of the other one?
Yeah, I was thinking that myself. I mean, they've met each other, especially when Willem was playing really well in 17 and 19. There were big wins but bullseye.
91.
He decides to set it up instead.
80. $75.
Now, if one player has struggled on double 5, it has been Richard.
Game shot on the first leg. Willem Mandigers.
And in 19 darts, I don't think you probably expected he would have that ample opportunity to win the leg.
Second leg is Richard to throw first.
But it's Willem that leads. And Chris Landman will be cheering all the way for a Manders victory.
83.
I guess your best players on the circuit. Obviously, I've seen you with Ryan Searle a lot. Did you ever play them? Did you ever practice with them all day and then look at the draw and then you've drawn them as well?
60.
Very rarely, actually. That wasn't something that happened too often. We did obviously play each other a couple of times. I think we're sort of 50-50 with each other.
99.
I never managed to play Aaron Beanie until I came to the Super Series when it was in Southampton, and we played each other twice
121
on that occasion. And on the first day when I played him, I beat him with my best average that I ever had in the Super Series, and on the second day, I beat him with a new best average that I've ever had in the Super Series.
Really?
And we were sharing together as well, so you don't want to go back to the room after losing someone you're sharing with, do you?
140.
Much better here from Veenstra.
100. You require 97.
A better Willem. Double top.
Game show on the second
And he's
leg.
been pretty brutal on them
Richard
two dart
Veenstra.
combinations as Veenstra. It's never easy when you're at the bottom of the board to the top, but that transition he seems to be nailing
Feel like
really
it's
well this
Willem
week.
to throw first.
Just as we're beginning to get concerned there for Richard. He's back level.
57.
Yeah, he's
140.
really warming to the task now. He's about 10 points ahead in the averages at the moment. And if that continues, that's going to be reflected on the
42.
scoreboard in the very near future.
Do you think he's already thinking of Landman? Do you think he's already thinking of that game? Because a big worry when they walked on the
60.
stage is that he might be overlooking this game when you've got a fantastic record against someone who's clearly not at the best, but we have seen him produce his best.
121.
Is the could the downfall be the fact that you're overlooking your good friend?
What did Conor McGregor say? One of the most positive,
96.
forward-thinking sportsmen of all time. He says there is no opponent. And I like that. And certainly
83.
in this situation, when you're battling for that top place, you've got to dismiss the others. You've got to go, I've got you beat. And gunning down and chasing down Chris Landman.
135.
What the very best of winners do. Obviously, I wasn't able to do that.
100. Richard, you require 70.
Good advice up. The double eight.
Game show on the
And once
third
again, them
leg.
two dart
Richard
combination
Veenstra.
finishes real strength of Richard's game. And we've talked an awful lot about when he's looking good, when he's feeling good.
Well, like it's Richard to throw first.
He's very, very hard to beat. And I used the word yesterday, has he underachieved? I mean, you're getting to see him
135.
all week. It'd be no shock to me, you know, if he's here on Saturday night and having a good go, which gives us an opportunity to speak to some of the
60.
players who's coming at the back end of the week. I've already had a couple of messages. I've had a message of Nick Kenny, Alex Small. I'm looking forward to seeing Leonard Gates. And the reason why
96.
is I was very, very critical about him, and I don't know if it ever reached him. Unbelievable scorer. One of the biggest scorers I've ever seen.
121.
Get him to 151 and less. He just did not have a clue how to finish, and it was detrimental to his game. And he needed to go away and work on that.
140.
And obviously, I watched him on the World Series, etc. this year. But incredible scorer, and yeah, looking forward to seeing him play.
41.
I wonder how much
Richard,
of that comes down to the soft
130.
tip as well, because a lot of the time they'll play on the ball and the 25, because that whole segment counts as 50.
90.
I think he's admitted that's that's the issue there. But if you're going to improve yourself, on steel tip, if he has aspirations of reaching the top of the
80.
game in the, in
Richard,
this
you've
form
got
of
40.
darts, then that back end he has to be improved. Double 10. He won't want to go to double
20.
5 because he's been useless at that. But no panic. Willem's well back on 199.
$96. Richard, you require 20. Game shot on the fourth leg.
Impressive
Richard
stuff.
Veenstra.
He's looking very, very good, very comfortable. Very comfortable in his own skin there. Seems to be
Feel like it's
enjoying the
Willem to throw
experience.
first.
Producing the darts. It's going to be a thunderous game with Landman that I can't wait for.
39.
And could that be the final here on Saturday night? Well, you can see it for free. Just here in Portsmouth. MODUS Live Lounge.
180.
All tickets are free at dartshop.tv. Come and make it a wonderful atmosphere.
43.
I might even get you to introduce you to Matthew Edgar. If that puts you off, send me a message and let me know.
85.
Well, I mentioned not long ago that there was 10 points difference in the average. That has grown now to a 20 points difference in the average, and Veenstra touching on the 100.
180.
Something that Willem was very good at the start of the day, and that's just come out of his game. But found
60.
another one in this one. He had 4 in his opening game, 3 in his next, 7 180s across 2 games of darts that went 4-1. That's 10 legs, and he hit 7 maximums. That
97.
is a very impressive return.
Like he implodes as the day goes on. That's
100. Willem, you've
the big concern for him.
142. 102.
That seems to
Richard,
be the
you've required
favourable setup.
76.
But 76 for the match. He won't like that one. He'll use the centre of the board. So for Bull, and what a finish this will be.
29. Willem, you've
So
required
to hold
40.
his throw and extend the game. 3 darts at tops. That is a nice start. Just on the top, should give him a nice little...
To make them 140s,
100.
180s. I'm not saying that a ton's not a great score. But against this man, you just feel it needs more.
59.
But Mandigers is in with a shout here now, especially with that dart.
81.
Just a bit snatchy that second. That's something you've picked up on a bit this week, Matt.
Well, when you drag the arm down, naturally, you're going to get a bit of flick.
100.
Because you've got to compensate somewhere. It has to go on that arc. But Willem has raised his game here. That 20-point difference in the average has now been reduced to 10.
Richard, you've required 142.
And reducing even further. And if he can reduce the scoreline, if he can level that up and make it 3 apiece, he will be throwing first for the match. And you almost feel like Chris Landman right now is signing up to the Willem Mandigers fan club.
He's these 2 dart combinations. Will he go double-double? He's quite old school. He's having a little think about it. It's not the ideal marker for the treble 20, but the way he's moved across the hockey there.
88.
Very traditional way. I think I'd have gone
50.
double-double at that point. So Veenstra, he won 50.
18. Willem, you require 8.
Match darts been and gone for Veenstra. Willem to level up the match. Take us to a decider where he would be throwing first. He needs the double 4.
Game shown the sick flag. Willem Mandigers.
Fist pump there as this goes all the way. And that will flip-flop the odds.
7th
that will
and final
flip-flop the favouritism. Willem will now be favourite due to what Owen Binks has just said, which is Willem to throw first.
I think I can hear Landman in the players' lounge
83.
screaming Willem's name. Would have massive implications on the league table and maybe take a little bit of pressure off the Landman v Veenstra game, which is a match I've been looking forward to all morning. But as a neutral, it would be nice if they can go in on the same amount of points.
99.
100 behind.
Willem is doing what we've said so often.
58.
Just find that treble, because that means when Veenstra gets that treble-less visit like he has, he's now got that opportunity to extend.
How many times has he hit that perfect treble 20 and then gone low 1? Like I said, if he does any self-reflection, that's an area of the game he can improve immediately. And what does Veenstra do?
140.
Because when that first treble went in, Mandigers was a massive favourite. All of a sudden, Veenstra's 40 points ahead, but this is much better. That's a fantastic setup. We've been moaning a little bit about the setup play from a lot of the players today, and that's put all the pressure in the world on Veenstra, and that 5 doesn't help.
48. Willem, you require 116.
Good counting. You feel now it's all in Mandigers' hands. That's not an ideal setup play for the treble 19. Really covered it there, so all he can do now is set it up.
56. Richard, you require 170.
For the match. Another treble 20 would have left in the ball. Hits the ball to leave him tops. The pressure is on Mandigers. And he's missed the board. He's only going to get 1 dart. He should have got 2.
20.
And you sort of feel that was his own doing.
40.
Match starts for Veenstra. He's already missed a couple.
For a player with an abundant amount of qualities, it's double 10 for a huge win. That is a massive dart. 2 great friends, but certainly not in the hockey. The difference there, a guy full of confidence on the doubles in Veenstra. And when Mandigers had the chance, he fluffed his lines. But what it does set up an unbelievable game for Richard Veenstra versus Chris Landman. Don't be missing that one later on. But next up, Tony Newell, Luke Getty.
So another victory for Veenstra before the break there, and that means he keeps it tight at the top of the Group A table. It's 4 wins for him out of 4 on Tuesday, with 1 match left to play, and that match is against the league leader, Chris Landman. That's after he beat Willem Mandigers at 4-3 in the previous match. Landman, of course, does have that game in hand. He will take on Adam Warner in a couple of games' time before that tussle at the top of the table. But next up, it is a meeting between the 2 boys at the bottom right now, Tony Newell and Luke Getty. And when the pair met yesterday, well, Tony Newell got the job done after Getty had missed a dart at the bullseye to win that match with a 1-2-4 finish. It was actually 24 that got the job done for Newell in the end. But the pair of them have both yet to pick up a win so far today, looking for their first. One of them will get it, but which one? Well, there's only one way to find out. No, it's not fight. Let's play darts instead.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, 2 players devoid of confidence. 2 players desperate for a victory. Both got a smile on the face. But really, if they've got aspirations of doing anything this week, really, they need that spark right now. I've seen glimpses of brilliance from both players, but the guy in your picture there, Pro Tour card holder for many years, in fine form, it just hasn't happened this week. And with Luke, his scoring's been absolutely fine, his setup play's been dreadful, and his doubles can be improved. So
Okay, first leg, it's Tony.
that's my analysis on these 2 players.
Game on.
Anything you want to add to that, Matt?
No, just literally looking at the table, and Luke on 2, Tony on 4, and Adam is now on 10.
140.
I'm sort of getting a little bit the vibes that these guys are sealing their fate, really. Especially if Luke Getty wins this match, I think
43.
it's fate decided. And I think we'll be seeing them on Thursday in Group C, which will be Thursday morning.
140.
I've seen some crazy implosions over the weeks of watching the MODUS Super Series, so until it's mathematically impossible,
140.
I'm going to keep my trap shut, because every time I predict something, the opposite happens. But I can't see Adam throwing away too much from now. 45. So for me, you feel like the top 3 are in place now. Now it's just about cementing the positions of where they're going to finish.
Yeah, and where they finish will obviously decide what happens for the rest of the week. The winner, they go straight through to Saturday. Job done for them. A couple of days off. Group C, which is where positions 4, 5 and 6 will be playing. They will be joined by Alex Small, Jeffrey Beckhammer and Leonard Gates.
Tough group.
Group B will be taking place on the evening session from around 10 o'clock.
Only requires 76.
And that will be the top 3 joined by Luke Getty. Oh, no, Luke Getty's not. It will be Kai Fang Lang. We'll get back to that in a second, because got a positive feeling here that Tony Newell's about to wrap this one up.
Tony Newell.
Just get those vibes sometimes, and in these sort of games, you feel the chances that wasn't going earlier on are going to. So it was meant to be Luke Getty, but Luke Getty's on the stage right now because he's replacing Kai Fang Lang, who had a few issues coming back from the World Masters.
100.
So it'll be Kai Fang Lang, Nick Kenny, and Rob Collins, joined by the top 2 finishers from Group A.
That's a good group.
55.
That is a very, very nice group, and trying to pick 3 from 5 out of that will be really tough. Looking forward to seeing Nick Kenny.
41.
And Kai's just come back from a brilliant World Masters. I haven't got the page up, but I think, did he reach the final or semi-final?
Semi-final, I believe it was, yeah. I watched his quarter-final game.
26.
Owen, I don't know, is it Roloffs? Roloffs?
Yeah, he's a part of my management team.
Terrible at pronouncing names, you see. So, yeah, decent game that was.
59.
Tournament you're quite fond of, isn't it? The World Masters?
40.
You were never out of it. Very, very similar to the MODUS Super Series. I know it's a best of 7, but you could be 2 sets down, and yeah, just a couple of quick legs, and all of a sudden you're right back in it. So yeah, it was a tournament I really enjoyed.
Wasn't your last appearance a defeat to Adam Smith-Neill?
I think he borrowed the 30 grand money off me.
36.
Still waiting for it, Adam.
161.
That was the moment, joking aside, that was the moment I wanted to join the PDC. When you're in a World Masters final in front of 50 people in Bridlington, and I didn't want to play, there was just no motivation. My first Masters against Larry Butler, I was on cloud 9. You know, I just loved every second of that experience. And I kept reminding myself, so we see this big 14, and for 1-1,
33.
And I just didn't really want to be there. Yeah, I was thinking, Mike, this is the World Masters, Glenn. And that's when I said the only thing left for me now is the PDC.
43.
Tops for Getty.
40. Game shot on the second leg. Luke Getty.
Trying to get some puns in of spaghetti. Trying to get some puns in there, so but I think I'm past it.
It's Tony to throw first.
I think I'm past. Oh, God. I'm wasted in here. Did I ever tell you I won the Premier League?
85.
I'm worried because by doing that, you're going to set Chris Murphy off soon.
The king of puns. Henry's not bad, you know.
25.
I'm just glad there's no smell-o-vision in this commentary box.
It has been a bit windy in here today, really, hasn't it?
140.
I felt this game was going to be a bit of a slow burner. How do you think the pair of them approach this?
100.
Like you rightly said there, it's looking very, very unlikely, even third place. Are you just looking for a build-up of confidence? Are you just looking to relax? Are you looking to try a few things?
180.
Because we did say it's a marathon, not a sprint.
I think even whoever wins this game will find the negative in the positive.
97.
I think that's the situation we're seeing here. When we look at the body language and we're looking at what we're seeing, I expect this to be one of those laughy handshakes where we're almost trying to dismiss what's just happened.
97.
Because neither have really found their best. I mean, this is a good leg from Luke Getty. He's left himself tops after 12. So, again, signs, but I don't think we've ever questioned the ability of them. What we're questioning is the consistency to bring out that ability.
This has been his downfall. The setup has been brilliant on that occasion, but he's doubling. But he thought that was in. He threw 2 good darts there. And then sometimes it can just come out your fingers and you're thinking, where is that going?
20.
And it pings right in the double 10.
Tony require 112.
Blowing his fingers on his hands again. It might be a little bit nippy down there. We need the crowd in on Saturday night. Please come and join us. Now we went. I'll try and explain that dart there. And that it looks 20. On that camera angle there, that was the perfect first dart for him. Just as we look at this double 10. I could call that a marker. Actually, the first one's a better marker than that one because that has covered a lot of the bed.
Doing the okey cokey.
No score. Tony require 56.
Again, he's done this a few times today. Not just missing the big number, but missing it sizably. You'd be excused to think he wanted a big 7 there. He certainly wanted the double 16. And how often do you see that? And when you're stood behind somebody in an important moment, they miss that big number. Yes. And so often they just polish it up and sort the problem.
100.
You said not to panic. There was no panic there from Tony Newell.
He's experienced, you know, he knows the score. He knows he's not at his best. He
95.
probably already knows. No, he's already probably thinking of Thursday and Friday. You know, it's just he's probably weighing out the positives of just getting a couple of
90.
days worth of practice and start from zero on Thursday, Friday. Someone said that last week. I'm trying to think who the player was. And it was just like starting all afresh again.
85.
And then they come all guns blazing on the Thursday, Friday.
Well, I was here not last week, the week before. Graham Usher finished bottom of the table. I think he had 4
Hey,
points.
that's
He
what
might
I'm
have
saying.
six.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Finished bottom of the table, minus 2,003 legs. And he ended up going through the Thursday, Friday, and then he won the week.
140.
Didn't just bounce back, he won the week. And that just goes to show that you're not out of it this early in the week. It's only day 2. It's a 6-day week.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Graham Usher. Obviously, what him and Colin Osborne have done, and you know, for our area as well. But you know, I remember playing Graham Usher at the UK Open many
40.
moons ago. He's probably listening. I can't remember what year it was. I was very early in
Look, you
my
require
travelling career
170.
type thing. And then he just sort of went missing for 5, 6. And you know, sometimes you think, Matt, I wonder what you know, people like Gordon
90.
Dobie and people who used to beat me
So
up
you
on the
require
hockey, you know,
141.
in the Northeast, the Paul Knightons, the Phil Nixons, you know, all them players. Wonder what they were thinking, you know, when all of a sudden I started going from local league then to moving on, thinking, God, I used to beat him
93.
at
Look, you
ease.
require 80.
Because obviously Phil Nixon inspired me when he had that unbelievable game with Martin Adams, and then I'm thinking, I wonder if I'm then inspiring the next people. And I always wonder whatever happened to Graham Usher.
55.
Just shows
Tony
it's never
require
too late.
48.
Break opportunity for Tony Newell. He's going for double-double. Or he's going for treble-double. It's double 16 first, though. 32 left. 16 points scored. Again, a wayward first start, but he mopped it up last time. He mops it up this time with a double-double.
Tony Newell.
Gives a little apology just to say that wasn't my intentions. I'm not taking the Michael.
I think he's struggling with the cold more
against
than
Tony
anybody.
to
I'm not saying it's
first.
cold. It's not
Game
cold
on.
in there. It's just, you know, without the crowd, it's a decent sized venue in there. He seems someone who's blown on his hands the most, and like I said, them fingers and thumbs.
39.
You want that connection. You want that feel on your dart.
Especially when you're throwing a 26-gram dart, you need to get some purpose and some
You can
projection.
see
onto
them in the
that dart.
background. They're so bulbous, aren't they?
177.
One thing he's not struggled with, though, is the doubles. He's had 3 darts at the doubles, well, 3 darts he was supposed to have at the doubles, and he's hit all 3, and he even tries to do a bonus one.
100.
So he's actually 4 from 3.
That's a good point. I tell you, he's not struggling. Owen Binks, as he belted out that
95.
177.
I mentioned in the last game, I got my calculator out. I worked out the finishing stats of Luke Getty. He was 19.73, I believe it was. He's averaging just 10% of the doubles in this one, 1 in 10. So that 19% is actually going to be coming down. Probably be more like 17 or a high
100.
16
by the end of this game. And that is the difference between the league table and why he's sat in
He
that bottom
must-
position.
He must know that, Matt, though, mustn't he? He must, if he's, like I say, I use that term
60.
self-reflect, you know,
You've got
because it's a long
129.
night, that, you know, to then be thinking of tomorrow and probably thinking, you know, tomorrow I can't even finish in the top 3. How am I going to treat the day? But, you know, if his finishing stats were better, the
57.
table could look so much different, whereas Tony's just been below par. You know, I know how good Tony is, and like I said, he's the ADC champion as well. I was expecting big things from him, but he just looks a frustrated man and
41.
has done, and there he goes
Luke
with the fingers and hands again.
72.
And if they're not working in tune, whereas Luke looks like he's having no problem with the conditions, so he'll stay there. That's a disappointing dart.
32.
That leaves him a 1 dart double.
We've seen this a few times from players that have got good levels of experience who came here and represented the ADC, and then it's not quite
85.
worked for them. I do wonder if sometimes
Luke, you
coming in with
require
that tag
40.
of being one of the ADC representatives just weighs a little bit more weight on the shoulders.
No, I don't personally think so. I think, I'll just say if this top scores in,
Game shot on the 5th leg. Luke Getty.
that's so much better from Luke. Like I said, I feel like he can score with the best of them. I don't think. I think they're just very proud to be representing the ADC. We're just looking at what they announced yesterday. There's plenty of opportunities out there, but just speaking to the people who I know that are doing the ADC circuit, one of the targets, one of the carrots is the fact that they can get an invite to the MODUS Super Series and and play for the $5 grand and then the potential 20 grand, which for someone like Conan Whitehead really just changed direction of his darts career again. Conan, I totally admitted he was going absolutely nowhere, and to be the champion of champion in the MODUS Super Series, it changed his darting career once more, and all that belief is there again.
99.
Yeah, we do see more now, especially with the younger players. The
70.
MODUS Super Series is becoming a bit of a target for people. Obviously, when we was going through the system, it was counties and super leagues and things like that. And now, with this opportunity that's available, a bit of time on TV, get yourself on the stage with big prize money, it's sort of the next phase of a development for
100
players coming through, and certainly people will be targeting this as part of their growth, especially when you look at last year's Q School and the amount of success that people who have been playing this all year had at Q School, because it just gets you so ready.
Yeah, I think I was the last bastion of workmen's clubs and county darts, Super League, represent your country,
100.
BDO, and then onto the PDC. The opportunities now from the JDC, the development tour, to from the amateur side of the game, the ADC and the MODUS Super Series, a big part of that. Over £1 million in prize money in 2023. It's phenomenal opportunities for people, and I'll be promoting it as loud and as proud, and I'm very, very happy to be involved.
44.
I might play you in one of the finals, huh?
Be more like a first round, won't it?
Without the fear of repeat myself, Matt did talk about Luke's setup play.
29.
And that, when you get them opportunities,
164.
The score of 29, keep it simple. Go back upstairs. And
64.
It may look like he's playing around the board there, but as you can see, he's on a 2-dart combination finish in there, whereas he's treble 17 here. That just sums it up, really.
83.
I like Luke.
Tony require 100.
He's out of it for this week, but I think he's going to have to come out with all guns blazing on Thursday, Friday. Double 10 for the match.
80. Luke, you require 38.
Double 16.
22. Tony required 20.
It's been a very nitty-gritty game. I don't think it's a game that either will remember.
15.
And the wars continue.
Luke, you require 16.
We're now throwing the 25th dart here. That's unlucky.
Yeah, he's just caught the flight there.
12.
Come inside Tony Newell now.
Tony
5.
requires
He's been
5.
here before and he hit the big 20.
3 times he's done this, Matt. I like that. Go big and then go home.
3. Luke, you require 4.
Look at the shoulders on the pair of them. I think they're embarrassed themselves, but they don't need to be. It just happens.
2.
This is the game of two
Tony
people who haven't
2.
had much go their own way so far. This isn't the darts they're throwing now. This is the story of their week.
No score. Luke, you require 2. No score. Tony required 2.
Shake of the head from both players. They're just both probably at this stage want to get off the stage. That's a good marker for Tony.
No score. Luke,
Both
you
stuck
required
in
2.
the madhouse. Remember
No
locally
score.
when you used to get to this sort of point, you used to have a
Tony
nearest ball.
required 2.
I feel the pain. They're both wonderful guys. They're probably just hating every second of this. But for Tony, it does put him on 6 points if he can get this double one.
Good
And in a match
shot on the
that both of them will never
Tony
remember.
Newell.
It's Tony that takes the 2 points. It does move him to 6 points and crazily keeps him in that area of 3rd place in this group. They won't like the stats, they won't like the match, but it's Tony Newell that moves on with the 2 points. Next up, it's Chris Landman against Adam Warner. One not to be missed.
Welcome back to the action here at the MODUS Super Series, where before the break we just saw a record equaling leg, but not the kind of record the pair would have wanted. Tony Newell winning 4-2, the last leg taking 36 starts, the most that's ever been taken at the Super Series, joint with Darryl Pilgrim once before here as well. He beat Luke Getty in that one. That means in the league table that Luke is stranded at the foot of it. Now 4 points adrift of the man who's just beaten him. Willem Mandigers on the same points as Tony Newell. Adam Warner in 3rd spot, kind of on his own there at the moment. Richard Veenstra and Chris Landman very much together at the top, but of course Landman does have a game in hand, which he's about to play against Adam Warner right now. And when they met yesterday, Landman did win the match 4-0. Here's how. taking out tops in the penultimate leg before missing it, but landing double 10 in the leg that completed the whitewash win over Warner, who, if he gets a victory here, puts himself very much back in the mix, doesn't he? Just be 2 points adrift of the two at the top of the table. Landman, though, has only lost one match so far this week, and he's just looking to keep that little advantage over Richard Veenstra ahead of their increasingly intriguing and important meeting towards the end of today's play. So let's get this one on. It is Landman against Warner, and it is Glenn Durrant and Matthew Edgar to guide you through it.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, no tips from me. I'll leave that to Matthew Edgar, but I will say this, don't miss this one. This is going to be a great game. Super impressed with the guy in your picture there. Been travelling for about a year, and he's got this opportunity via the ADC against a guy who's looked pretty invincible. Just a guy who, his throw is just so fluent, so effervescent. He's just enjoying the experience and got his eyes on the prize. But from a neutral, it'd be nice if Adam could win this game, because if won, it would set up a blockbuster of a game between Landman and Veenstra, and it also means that wouldn't so much be a two-horse race tomorrow. So for the neutral, Adam Warner would be a big victor here. For the purists, just continue, watch and enjoy the talent of Chris Landman.
100.
You mentioned about Adam has only really been travelling for about a year or so. I've actually had a really good question come through today on the socials. It was from Craig Morgan. Thank you for your question. He says, what would your sort of route be now if you could map out a route? You know, would you be using some of the events, the Super League, Counties, ADC, WDF, Challenge Tour? What would sort of be your route now if you was to navigate it? Because obviously it's changed so much since you first navigated the system.
I won't sit on the fence, but point I'm trying to say here is it would depend on the circumstances. You know, are we talking about someone who's got a full-time job, a family? Are we talking about a sensational teenager like Luke Littler? Are we looking at someone who's in the mid-40s or 50s, or, you know, going down various avenues there? I think my answer would be there's just lots of opportunities there, and there's no real weakness I see. You know, the ADC does give you opportunity of, you know, what you're watching today. But you know, the JDC, the development tours, the challenge tours is an area I would want to concentrate on, because getting the 128 Pro Tour card is, you know, the best 128 players in the world. But, you know, the good news is there's loads and loads of opportunities. And just watch this man right now. A year ago, he watched a game between Willie Borland and Bradley Brooks, and he thought, right, I'm going to go and do some competitions. And within 12 months, he's here.
38.
And that's unlucky there. And he's here challenging the very best at the MODUS Super Series.
16.
Might not just be challenging the best in terms of this group. He might be about to go ahead. And not only would he be about to go ahead, but this would be a breaker throw here for Adam. He's got 3 darts to convert.
Game shot on the first leg.
It's his first leg win over Chris Landman after the 4-0 defeat yesterday. He'd be feeling really good. But again, what I like, it's all at his pace. He knows he's playing an ultra-quick player. So the tendency is that you start following the pace of someone like Landman. But not with this guy. Even though you would use the quote, he's inexperienced.
99.
He's going at his pace. He has a sip of water after each leg. He stands behind when he's ready for a double. He's got all the attributes to be a very, very good player.
You mentioned that he lost 4-0 yesterday to Chris Landman. In that game, he only had 1 dart at a double. It was a very one-sided affair on that occasion.
100.
That was Adam's second game on the stage. He did beat Tony Newell in his opening game, where he came back from 2-0 down.
I was beginning to doubt him early doors. Was yesterday just his moment? I tell you what, every time I see him, he impresses me.
$132.
I don't know if you heard that there, Matt. Just a big roar from him there. I'm very much like that. He's got that little
100.
Swagger.
bit of steel. I was talking to Andrew Dugan yesterday. One of my best friends in darts is Andrew. And Adam's been very, very good with him. And he spoke very, very highly of him. He sort of looks after Andrew a little bit in the practice together at the ADC tournaments. So if you're a friend of Andrew's, Adam, you're a friend of mine. So 72.
Adam, he requires 72.
Many of the players are going down the 16 route for the first dart. And that leaves double 12, which he's hit before.
Game show.
Probably in the same spot as that.
Adam Warner.
Very impressive young man. Top of the table, Landman is not having it all his own way in this game.
Third against Chris to throw first. Game on.
He's not having much his own way, really. This is all about Adam Warner, who's took his average
140.
just over the 100 mark. Averaging 15 darts a leg. Good standard.
99. $100.
Sort of feel that this leg is far more important for Chris Landman than it is for Adam. If Adam gets this, that's a double breaker throw, and I don't see a way back for Chris when Adam's in this sort of form.
58.
Big moments for Landman.
95.
Not looking too far ahead. Who do you fancy in the clash of Veenstra Landman?
I said at the very start of the show that I think Veenstra ends the day top of the table, so I said it at the start, I'm going to say it at the end, and I'm going to stick with my guns, and I'm going to go with Richard Veenstra to go through the card today.
Is that an Edgar top tip or just a prediction?
64.
Yeah, it's not in the top tip category. I don't think there's quite the value and the percentage chance of the win to put it in the tops.
30.
But certainly it's something I've got to stick with Veenstra. Landman is going to be standing at the back of the stage now, just probably contemplating. Does he go aggressive and go straight forward? Does he go for the split?
Chris required 10. Game shot on the third leg.
He's just one of them players. He just has the eye on that treble 20 target, or if there's a double there, it's just straight for it. I don't think there's too much messing about with someone like Chris Landman.
Game on.
It's great that they're over. Such a cosmopolitan field is the MODUS Super Series, and I thought I saw something really special in Raymond Smith last week, and
100.
he's going to be very, very dangerous opponent for anyone at Ali Pali, whoever he plays.
You have to get a bit of value in Raymond Smith. He's not the favourite to win his opening game, and he's playing against Carl Sedlacek. Remember that because I covered that game just yesterday on YouTube.
Trying to give a prediction, but for me that is a 50-50 game.
140.
Carl Sedlacek brings back memories. I think he had the third highest losing ever average at Lakeside when he played me. I didn't have a clue who he was.
60.
And I think he averaged 99 point something, or just over 100, but we became firm friends after that. But he looks very much solid as Raymond Smith. Do you know, I would sneak Smith to win that game.
Do you think you'd become firm friends if he'd beat you at Lakeside on that occasion?
I was a bad loser at that time. I think I only became a good loser when I started losing on a regular basis. That fight. 1-2-1 here. He might just stay there. Sensible.
There was an
very clever, very sensible. Old head, young shoulders.
There's an expression years ago that I loved. And it was, you show me a good loser,
60.
and I'll show you
Enemy
a
requires
loser.
32.
Yeah, I started giving people a hug and a cuddle when I was regularly losing, but I never spoke to you for weeks. Double 16 here for Warner, and the impressive stats of this young man just continue. Just when I was beginning to doubt him, early doors.
Fifth against Chris to throw first.
Had that big loss to Richard Veenstra. I was thinking, was his moment yesterday? But he continues and continues to impress.
41.
I can't wait to have a little chat with him. I'll leave it till after tomorrow, just to see how he felt the first 3 days have gone. But I would love to hear from his mates again. I was getting a bit of stick off him yesterday. I'm not hearing so much today.
177.
But I need your feedback, guys.
I think that's a good thing about Adam. We've
140.
asked questions. And we asked questions at the start of the day. We asked questions yesterday. We asked questions halfway through the day. And just when we start to ask those questions, he starts to give us answers.
140.
We have a message on Twitter from Alexandra, watching from Holland.
100.
I like this group. How do you think the guys would do in the PDC? Darts is about levels. And honestly, that Pro Tour is absolutely brutal. But be inspired. I'll be watching every game at the Ali Pali this year. Unfortunately, from my home, because I simply was not good enough the past 18 months. That's how tough of a school it is. And
60.
if you ever want a parallel, you need to be averaging 95 to 105 regularly.
And we require 144.
Any outsider you fancy? There's a 6th favourite is Josh Rock. Do you think that's unfair on the young man?
Yep, and I don't like it one bit. Not a fan of that.
43. Christopher
I will give you a dark horse in the next game between Luke Getty and Willem Mandigers, so stay tuned for that. If you want a dark horse
85.
prediction for the World Championship starting on
And we
Thursday.
require 101.
No, we had just had a little problem with his flight and stem there. He had to change it and dipped into treble 1 bed, which was frustrating. So treble 14 or bull. And for the match,
81. Christopher requires 75.
you'd be looking at treble 17 here for double 12, which is getting
Game shown the
pummeled
fifth
today.
leg.
That double
Chris
12 bed.
Landman.
And once again, when Warner has a dart at a double to win the match, and you hear game shot and leg to Landman,
Six leg is Adam to throw
what you've got to think is positive.
Game
Next
on.
time you have another opportunity to double, this time you have to ping it. So, 15 darter, please. Start off with a treble 20. And this is a wonderful, wonderful start.
180.
Yeah, you could see almost the expectation that he expects his opponent to hit, but the frustration that he felt that could have been his
45.
chance when you missed that dart and you saw the visible frustration come out of Adam, but then to channel that into such a positive, to open with a max. Chris Landman only opening with a 45, which instantly is
91.
giving him that cushion that any treble is just going to land double blows.
But just when you write off Landman,
140.
and if I could write a thesis on MODUS Super Series, don't write off anyone. Every time I do it, something else changed. But just keep it simple. Nice straight dart, 230, 170 is the minimum.
100.
And that's a beautiful, beautiful last dart. And even a maximum here from Landman.
140.
Despite it being a
And we require
140,
130.
it's still 6 darts for the young man. He'll stay there. Options now. I don't think he'll be going for the bull. Very sensible, isn't he?
98.
But a man of, you know, we've talked an awful lot about his experience, but sensible young man.
140.
Yeah, I'd have done the same thing there. I would
And we
have
require 32.
been looking at setting this up. He likes this area of the board. He's left it after 12 darts. Credit to Landman. We was writing him off
Game
earlier
shot
in
of
the
the
leg, but after
match,
12
Adam
darts, he got
Warner.
himself down to a shot as well. That was due to the 3 140s. However, Adam Werner gets the points on the board. 2 more points, and that really has probably confirmed his place as a minimum in Group B. However, the defeat for Chris Landman has just now opened the door to make this a 3-horse race. We'll be seeing what goes on with them games in a moment. But coming up next, we've got Luke Getty and Willem Mandigers.
into the final 3 fixtures then of Tuesday's Super Series action, and the race for pole position going into the final day of Group A is well and truly on. That is after that fantastic win for Adam Warner over Chris Landman, who had only lost 1 match before this one all week so far. Both players averaging in the 90s. Warner in the high 90s, 98.4 rate, hitting half of his double attempts and getting a very, very timely win indeed. Not just for himself, but for Richard Veenstra as well. Because if you take a look at this table, it is very, very tight at the top all of a sudden. Matthew Edgar suggested it would be a split between the top 3 and the bottom 3. That certainly has materialised, but it could be either Landman or Veenstra who are top of the pile at the end of the day, because they play each other in the penultimate match of this session. If Warner wins his last match, and he could go on to 14, joining one of them and making it just 2 points between the top 3 heading in to the last day of action. So the first of the end of day encounters is between Luke Getty and Willem Mandigers. When the pair met yesterday, it did go the way of the Dutchman in that one. Getty without a win so far today against Mandigers, whose only win yesterday was against the Southampton Slingers. So who will end the day on a high? We're about to find out with Glenn and Matt.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, will it be a double for Mandigers over Getty? Willem opened at the show yesterday against Luke, and he was absolutely superb, and we had high expectations. Yesterday ended up being a bit of a nightmare. Then this morning, once again, he came out of the traps quicker than Usain Bolt. But he sort of dipped a little bit in form there, whereas Luke has just struggled a little bit around that outer ring. His doubles percentages will be something to be really disappointing if you want to take those 70-plus averages into the 80s and 90s.
Game on.
Them doubles have started to go, but he's never given up. He's been professional right the way through. He's given everything his very best. And this is his final game of the day.
26.
Yeah, there's probably still a lot he can take from this, really. When you think, like, his experience levels at the moment have only really reached the county stages, which is a very good level of darts. But this is a massive step up from sort of that county standard of darts. And even now, even though he's bottom of the table, a win here would still be a positive and a progressive step.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I used to play county, and I used to feel like invincible. Beat anybody. Played 100 games, and I think I won 90 for Cleveland. And I used to think, how can I get that feeling I had at county onto the BDO circuit, on the BDO stage? But the big thing with county, it's a very social event as well. You've got all your friends around you, and you're having a real good time. Today's an individual sport for Luke, and trying to find them answers is probably what he's thinking, because he said he's unbeaten at county this year. He loves it. He really put a smile on his face when we talked about county darts. And he then has to find a way how he gets that feeling at county as a team into the individual sport of being on that stage.
Does make a big difference as well, because once he's finished here, when you go back to his own hotel room by himself, spending the whole week by yourself, it does change how you perceive things. Gone for tops here. He nearly knocked that single out, which wouldn't have counted if it had came out the board. It has to be retrieved to count.
58.
I said it
you require 59.
This has been the difference between the top 3 and the bottom 3. These clutch finishes. You feel like if Veenstra, Landman, or Warner was going with that 59, you had all the confidence in the world it would go in.
On the first leg, Luke Getty.
For me, that's the big difference between that disparity of the top 3 and the bottom 3. But it's Getty that takes an early lead. It's on
Second
throw,
Willem
so no need to panic yet for Willem. He had his chances there.
I can't help but look at the fixture list and see that game that is coming up after this one. Richard Veenstra versus Chris Landman. Your two players that are sat position 1 and 2, separated by legs.
45.
Both players on 14. Both have won 7, lost 2. It's plus 18 Chris Landman, plus 15 for Richard Veenstra. The winner of that will go into tomorrow, the final day of Group A, with themselves being top of the table with a 2-point cushion.
97.
And it was a great game between them yesterday. But the theme of yesterday is very, very similar of today. Them top three have really moved on. Something I thought would happen. I wasn't so sure about Adam Warren. I was fairly confident that Landman and Veenstra would still kick on again today. But once again, the person that really is pleasantly surprising me is Adam Warren, and his game with Tony Newell, for him, is just as big as the Veenstra Landman game, because he can finish the day in second position.
$61.
And usually by tomorrow you'll be getting the fingers and toes out with leg differences and all this. And there's a lot of debutants this week. And they'll probably be trying to work out what the scenarios are. So it's just a case
77.
of winning your games. But a nice setup there for Mandigers. And Getty a long way back. It's twice he's done that in this match.
Willem, you requires 16. Game shot on the second leg. Willem Mandigers.
That gives us a level game, everything on the throw, and just picking up on what you said there about the players trying to work out what they're doing. It's just about winning your games. I used to give that advice, and I still do give that advice, especially when people are going to Q school or they're playing in a group table or anything like that. I give that same advice, but a little bit more in your face, shall we say, with it, because I always say the only people who care about league tables or the only people who care about points at Q school are losers, because winners don't get points. Winners get tour cards. Same with this. You don't need to worry about where you are in the table when you're winning, because you know you're winning. Everyone's below you. You're top. You only look at league tables when you take a couple of defeats. That's when you start looking at what could happen here and all the different outcomes, because, again, they're questions, because you don't have the answer because you know you're not top.
And something similar, a question I get asked a lot is, how did you take your averages, Glenn, from 25 to, 95 to 100s? And I said it was the day I stopped thinking of averages. Because averages, usually for me, is linked to the checkout percentage. Some days I wish we didn't sort of talk about averages so much.
125.
But it is a big part of the game now and something we've got to accept. But Mandigers, he throws that perfect dart, and how many times he's gone little one after that? So he'd be thinking each time, but he did it again in his last 3 darts.
37, look, you're requiring 58.
And he's that 2-dart combination. So when you're thinking of your practice routines at home, that is just as important than any 180 you're going to throw on a practice board. Get yourself starting on 41 to 81 every night.
Willem to throw first.
Good leg there from Luke Getty, a 14-darter. We know the story he's had so far. He's only got 2 points. That means he's had 1 win. But this is by far better than what we've seen from him so far.
42.
Getty is getting Betty. I'm not very good at these puns, am I?
It's the fact you sit there with a big cheesy grin on your face after every one of them. Like you should be signed up to Live at the Apollo or something.
30.
Tickets will be available soon for Glenn Durrant's comedy tour. I'm guessing it's going to be the same sort of ticket sales as your exhibitions, which...
97.
Always a sellout. Playing in living rooms. I always have a go every morning on the headline challenge on my local radio. Let's see if you like me one this morning.
Retaliation there from Willem Mandigers. Leaves himself a double after 12. This game is warming up.
83. Willem, you require 28.
Wants to Mensa.
Game
13-darter. That's how you answer a 14-darter. This game is getting a bit tasty.
Fifth leg, it's Luke to throw first. Game on. 140.
So you talk about this headline challenge I do every day. This morning it was England's World Cup footballers Kyle Walker and John Stones adopted a stray cat they met in
58.
Qatar. They brought him back to Manchester via quarantine and named him Dave. And the radio's headline was Felines on a shirt.
140.
I went with Pussy Gull or Pussy Galore.
81.
England away kit won it.
Sounds like it's a bit of a slow news day, really.
Don't this my local radio.
41.
Still need to try the local cuisine, actually. Was it a Parmo, was it, is it?
Yeah, it's just similar
94.
to a salad. Just the only difference being about 4,000 calories. Do you like cheese?
I think the missus's ears have just pricked up at home because she's a big fan of cheese.
Do you
85.
like bechamel sauce? That was a question in the quiz last night, bechamel sauce. And do you like chicken?
Yes.
There you go, you love a Parmo.
So your topics at the quiz last night, probably food,
86. Look, you've got 95.
saving money. Your key topics.
They stayed on the 19s there because Willem's on 182.
59.
That's a nice setup. Leaves him 36. A game that's at Desmond. And a game that you feel like Getty could do with a win more than Willem, actually. For Willem, he'd be thinking, why am I peaking so early on the morning and dipping by the end of it?
Game's on the 5th leg.
Whereas Getty would be
Luke
thinking,
Getty.
he did get better yesterday, Luke Getty. So he'd be thinking, I need to come out the blocks a little bit quicker. So both have got questions to answer.
Willem to throw first.
But like I said, we've got Thursday and Friday where the beauty of it is they'll all start on 0 points again. They'll know that stage well.
45.
The arm will be free-flowing. And they'll be right back in the competition.
I'm going to be quite bold here. And I'm going to say that I quite
60.
actually fancy Willem Mandigers to get through Group C because the conversation we had with him was that he just feels a little bit off the
81.
pace. He's not been playing as much. And after 3 days of play, going into a new group, we might see the best of him on a more consistent
46.
basis. I do feel like we have seen the best of him at times, but not so much on a consistent basis.
140. 134.
This is good from Getty. You use the 25 and bull here.
60.
That would have left the big fish. I'm already thinking, I'm wondering if Luke's already thinking of the last leg where he'll have the darts.
11.
Because that's has been his downfall, and that set-up play from 200 downwards. Whereas for Willem, he's not punished it.
80.
If we had a heat map on that dartboard, just below that single one, that treble one would be a mark that Willem would not like to see because it'd be fairly warm. And more frustratingly, it's usually after a treble 20.
100. Willem, you require 95.
So again, he might probably go down treble 19 based on the fact that his opponent's on 150. That leaves 76 on the double-double route.
57. Look, you require 150.
That wasn't as bad a dart as that looks when you look at the point. That hit the flight. This could be a great dart. Double 15 for the match.
120.
Double 15
Willem, you
comes
require
and goes.
38.
That's one match start gone. And I don't get this play. He deliberately chose double 19 as a double-double option and then has split it when he
22.
comes with 3.
Yeah, great
You
point,
require
Matt.
30.
I was thinking exactly the same. Horrible double this. That's not the end of the world because that leaves double 5. Perfect marker. And Luke Getty gets his first win of the day. And as a commentator, I'm very, very happy for him because at times he's lost games 4-3. And that one, he just got over the winning line and just gives him something for the rest of the week. As Matt said, he has to focus on the positives. Do not miss the next game. Top of the table clash. Richard Veenstra versus Chris Landman. I can't wait for this one.
Welcome back. A penultimate match coming up next here at the Super Series for today, and it is a big one. But before we get into that, Luke Getty has finished his day on a high. His first win of the day, a 4-2 success over Willem Mandigers. This is what that does to the Group A table. It just keeps Getty in touching distance of Mandigers and Tony Newell. It looks like those three will be heading for Group C on Thursday and Friday. Adam Warner, Richard Veenstra and Chris Landman, well, two of them will probably be in Group B, but one will make it straight through to finals night. That's what Raymond Smith did, won Group A last week and then went on to win finals night itself. And the top two are about to do battle right now. Chris Landman and Richard Veenstra on the stage ready for this crucial contest at the Super Series. When they met yesterday, it did go the way of Landman. He actually turned it around. You can see that Veenstra there was in a very promising position, but Landman went on to win it 4-3. They went on a really good winning run, but he's lost his last match, and Veenstra has won all four of his today. So won all four of his today, rather. So this is really, really important. Whoever wins it will top the table at the end of the session, going into the final day. Strap yourselves in for this clutch Dutch duel, as described by our two tungsten titans in the commentary box. Two words, that titans, Glenn Durrant and Matt Edgar.
Thank you, Chris. You've had the hors d'oeuvre. Now you're going to have the impressive two Dutchmen who have been absolutely outstanding the past couple of days, and they've got the golden prize of being top of the table going into the final day. Yes, the great friends, the super quick. So to blink and you'll miss it. I've been looking forward to this all morning, and may the best man win.
Yeah, position to take that top spot going into tomorrow. That will be
Richard to throw first.
a big advantage, actually.
Game on.
And I know it's only a couple of points, but also there's an opportunity here to, well, for Veenstra to get rid of that leg advantage that Chris Landman's got.
60.
If he can get a 4-2 or a 4-1, we've seen Veenstra get 4-0s and 4-1s throughout yesterday and today. He's been getting those big score lines. He wasn't able to get over the line yesterday. We saw on that graphic he went 3-1 up, and then Landman was able to turn it around. But a lot has happened since then. There's been a lot of darts, a lot of stories developed and told, and
58.
This one's all about the big story, the place in Saturday night's final.
And keep your eye on the clock. I think one of the legs between these yesterday was under 50 seconds.
96.
Takes Matt that long to get his wallet out.
96.
Don't think I've ever seen your wallet, actually.
60.
Normally when we get to the till, I fumble around for 50 seconds. You do your shoelaces, go check on something. You've had a phone call that you need to answer.
51. Richard, 107.
Why you go to the toilet so often?
Treble 17. Double 18.
89. Richard,
the body's been successful. So 94. Decision here. Do you go bullseye? He's gone straight for it. That doesn't guarantee a dart the double.
54.
And all he can do is set it up there. So if he'd have gone for the bullseye, pretty much guaranteed you a shot at the bull.
Shot on the first leg.
And that's when you stand back and regret, why did I go that way? And sometimes you can walk to the hockey thinking you're going to go up with the bull, and all of a sudden you throw up a treble 18. But
second leg is Chris to throw
irrespective of that, it's Landman that took the first leg, and more importantly, Matt, a break, a throw.
100.
Yeah, massive. He's got to do it at some point. He's done it in the opening leg. Now, what you'd like to see if you're in the Landman corner is him hold his throw here. You don't want him to get broken straight back again, because by getting that second leg on the board, it just gives you that a bit of a cushion where you can have a bit of a free one on Veenstra's throw, where, okay, 2-1, I've still broke the throw, I'm still in the lead, or 3-0, LO, we're about to get this wrapped up and I'm going home top of the table.
I'm just wondering, after Chris Landman's defeat to Adam Warner, did he go back and have a cheese roll?
60.
Because he's come out the blocks here quickly.
Maybe a bit of cheese and onion the way he's going here. He's flying.
Fly is his flying.
141.
And there is
You've got
something that we've
161.
identified so much. That 201, that set-up play, timing, crucial.
60.
I think I'd have gone for the bull on the last start there.
Yeah, the bull would have guaranteed him, or gave him the option, should I say, of a
60.
Just look at
Two
them
darts.
first two darts there.
101.
That's something I think Chris could improve, Matt. He just has this obsession with staying on there. But double 12?
89. Chris, you require 100.
What do you think, Tops? I think he had to go there
80.
because you've got to
Did you
fancy
require
Veenstra the way he's playing with this double 6.
Game
It's
shot
a
in the
level
second
game,
there.
and that
Richard
breaker
Veenstra.
throw has gone straight back, and that was probably the worst case scenario there that could have happened in terms of Chris Landman. He's broke the throw, and then he's had it
Delegates
straight
Richard to
away
throw first.
rebroken.
Game on.
So you just want to hold your throw, double up that lead, confirm the break. I think was it Rod
100.
Harrington who said a break's only a break if you hold?
Yeah, good. I like that.
58.
Again, just when you felt like Landman was beginning to take control of this match, out of nowhere. And when I say out of nowhere, they're just so quick, these players.
81.
We literally just touched 4 minutes of this match, and already we're in the third leg.
140.
Absolutely no messing about with these two players. It's great to see for a neutral.
$95.
Yeah, there's not much between them on the averages. They've both had 3 140s. Scoreboard's
58.
pretty much the same.
But it's this area. This is where the boring dozer comes into it. This is the area, the setting up. This is perfect.
140.
At last, I've got something right with the timing, but it's so important when you're around that 200 mark that you're giving yourself something.
100.
Chris does it. He's an outside and out. It's in Veenstra's hands. It's his to lose from here. But because of that treble 20,
53. Chris, you've got
Surprising.
145.
So if I was Landman now, I'd grit my teeth even more.
Brave darts, and it's certainly going to
105.
pay off for him because he's going to come back to the board with 3 darts in hand for the first holder
Game
throw
shot
in this
the
match,
third
and it
leg.
goes the way
Richard
of
Veenstra.
Richard Veenstra. And I feel like you did that last moment a little bit of injustice, actually, when you said, and here
Full leg
comes
is
boring,
Chris to
does
throw
he? Because
first.
actually he arrived on Sunday.
Speaking of top tungsten
85.
tosses, these two players are right at the top of the game at the moment.
60.
Easy to watch this, isn't it?
97.
Yeah, I love watching two players that play with pace. It's just nice and easy, straight in. And now they're going to start chucking in a couple of 180s as well. Just makes it even more entertaining. You know what they're going through up there. You know what they're playing for. They're playing for the
140.
opportunity to go into the final day as the table topper. And they are starting to produce. They've both gone over the 91 average mark now.
I don't think this match is about averages. I don't know about you, Matt, but this is just a real match play.
59.
Two friends, two rivals, two top-of-the-table players, two quick players. They're just fighting it out for the win. And I just think one of these games, I think average is just irrespective. They're just telling us how good they're playing.
Game shot
Fabulous
the fourth
darts.
leg.
Fabulous darts from Chris
Landman.
It switches from one player to the next, one player to the next. Everything I expected of this game. And a beautiful Shanghai finish.
Game on.
I like to think of games like this as a seesaw. Because
100.
you just take your turn, don't you, to do the jump so that the ride continues. And then there's always that moment that someone jumps off and slams the other one down.
Yeah, I had Landman winning the game in the second leg. And I thought Veenstra's got it won after the third leg. But here we are.
59.
2-2.
I suppose that's why you're not a betting man, because you'd bet every outcome and lose.
My predictions are awful.
95.
Like I said, I'm here as a pundit. I'm here as a commentator. I'm just trying to give you a feeling of how these two are feeling right now. And do you know what? I think both of them enjoying the battle.
180.
I don't think Chris Landman would expect to finish the day on 2 losses. I don't think any of us did.
137.
But he's very, very impressive. Both over the 90 average again.
That was the second 180 of the game. Both of them go in the way of
46.
Richard Veenstra. I would not be surprised to see the 180 column being added to at some point in the back end of this game.
137.
But this was a big shot there from Chris Landman. After 12 darts, leaves himself 72. It's 19 for tops. He's missed the big number.
76.
And this is the big,
72.
big opportunity for Landman. He should get at least a dart.
This is the moment, Matt. This tops is huge.
Game show on the
What
5th leg.
a finish.
Chris Landman.
Remember that moment. Remember that moment at the end of tomorrow, because that could be so decisive. But I'm going to use the term you just gave. A break's only as good if you hold your throw.
These first 3 darts, I think, are the ones.
100.
Good last dart. Great last dart.
I was just about to say go to treble 19. But just when you're right off someone.
180.
What a match. It's not disappointing.
So they expected some more 180s, and there's another one.
59.
3 180s in this one for Richard Veenstra. The 59 from Landman keeps him 9 darts away. If they use the 17s, could get the pressure on a bit longer, and Veenstra is racing into potentially a level game.
121.
And if they want a double, both of them are pinging it in this match. This is a battle. I'm enjoying this.
105.
You notice Veenstra here has really picked the pace up, which is something that you don't often see with someone who's already traditionally a fast player.
Confidence. They're enjoying. His
76.
dance partner's doing exactly the same. This is great to see. How big is this 76? Landman hit tops.
36. Which
Veenstra doesn't.
81.
And for the match, a big, big finish. That is the difference. Might go double-double on 72. What a dart that is. Oh, give himself the opportunity at that double 18. And Veenstra sighs, huge sigh of relief. Tops.
Game
What
on the
a
6th
game.
leg. Richard Veenstra.
Sometimes when you build it up, you think it's going to end up as an anti-climax. Absolutely not in this case. Riveting.
7th and final leg is Richard to throw
Who
first.
is going to end the day?
Game on.
Top of the table on 16 points. Over to you guys.
Well,
140.
Landman took that 72 out and started with a ton, and you just start to think that we're starting to see the conclusion of the match.
85.
And then 13 darts from Richard Veenstra, and he's on it again. He went 180, 140 in the last leg. He's 140, 140 in this leg, but this time he has the advantage of the throw.
140.
He should get an extra visit with Landman having that 85. There's an argument. In fact, there's not even an argument, it's a telling. You should have switched there, Richard Veenstra, and 19 would have left you the finish.
123.
Landman first 2 a finish with a 153.
And that deflection there. If that had gone in treble 20, for me, there'd been only one winner. And without a treble, what a damn, what a feeling that gives you. All you want is a finish, but treble 19. I was getting ahead of myself there. 66 coming for Richard Veenstra. And Landman does his job. He sets that up for a 2-darter. And how are you feeling, Richard Veenstra? That leaves a fat 20. And for the match tops, what an unbelievable game. In the clash of the Titans, in a clash of the top of the table, it's Richard Veenstra that comes through. And an amazing game. Both averaging the 94s. Tremendous spectacle. All to play for tomorrow. Wonderful game, guys.
Well, it was Richard's revenge before the break there as victorious Veenstra completed a clean sweep with victory over Chris Landman. Both players averaging in the 94 range there. 3 180s helping Richard Veenstra to victory. Hit 4 out of 6 of his double attempts. A really high quality affair, which included a high checkout of 120 from the defeated Landman. And that means that it is Richard Veenstra who has climbed to the top of the table. 16 points for him after inflicting the 3rd defeat on Landman, who only lost 1 match yesterday and was top overnight. Adam Warner could join him on 14 points if he wins his final match and the final match of Tuesday's play. He's taking on the Bear, Tony Newell. Warner did win the reverse fixture yesterday. Here's how. Landing double top to do so and earn a 4-2 success. Both players here this week representing the amateur darts circuit and both doing it very well indeed. Adam Warner certainly happy to be here and making a really good show of things so far, looking like he's going to at least be in Group B, but still, of course, we'll have designs on top spot in Group A. He takes on Tony Newell, who's had mixed fortunes, I think it's fair to say, so far, but it should be a decent encounter to close the action. How will Warner fare against the Bear? Let's find out with Glenn Durrant and Matthew Edgar.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, we're just getting over that exciting finale between Veenstra and Landman. A game that did not disappoint. Sometimes when you build a game up, sometimes it can sort of let you down or they outplay each other. But it was a fantastic game, and it's Veenstra that will be the happier of the two. But this guy in your picture still has plenty to say about who's going to top this table. And he's been absolutely brilliant. And a credit to him and a credit to the ADC. And he'll be delighted. But let's find out what you're about now, because all of a sudden he's possibly or probably, Matt might tell me more, that he'd be favourite for this game here. But I'm sure yesterday when he played Tony Newell, a guy who's got Pro Tour experience and ADC champion, he would have been probably second best.
60.
But that just shows you the good 2 days that he's had.
Yep, the odds have flip-flopped around. He was second favourite yesterday. He's quite strong favourite today, and I think that comes down not just to the darts that he's thrown, but the darts that Tony Newell's thrown as well. They've both gone in completely different paths to what was sort of expected of them. If Adam can confirm that fixture of yesterday where he beat Tony Newell 4-2, turning it around from 2-0 down, reeling off 4 consecutive legs, I think that pretty much wraps up the positionings in terms of who's going to be going into Group C and who your runners are for Group B,
85.
and who your runners are for the title.
And remember to gamble responsible. 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Speaking of Saturday night for the final, which me and Matt will be commentating on,
83.
please come and join us. Check out dartshop.tv. The tickets are absolutely free. And these players are loving everything about this arena, everything about that stage. But what they need is a good crowd in here on Saturday, so come and cheer them on, because it'll be a special night.
You could possibly treat the crowd to maybe
60.
some Glenn Durrant bingo or something before the start.
I've only got 1 can of Coke left, so I've got nothing for the full house. Still raging over that.
140.
It was the dance that I did when I got the single line to be awarded a can of Coke. And once again, this sort of match sort of sums the MODUS Super Series up. We've probably written off Tony Newell, just like we did with Luke Getty yesterday when he played Landman. This is for the break.
On the first leg, Tony Newell.
That's probably 107 for Tony. He's come from nowhere, but he does look in a lot more control than he has been. But he's just a little bit too late.
Game on.
That's a great start for him. And again, as a neutral, an Adam Warner win really sets up something very juicy for tomorrow.
98.
And the 3 of them would be battling for that top spot. For Tony Newell, he needs something. And a big victory over Adam would just be that.
59.
Yeah, just keep his hopes slimly alive of making Group B. Obviously, Group B does have its advantages. You play in the evening, which
100.
is, first of all, where dark players would traditionally like to play. You then get the advantage of more qualification spots. There are 3 places available for getting through Group B, only 2 in Group C. The next advantage is there are only
137.
5 players in Group B, where there are 6 in Group C. So big advantage if you can get yourself into that group. So these are the 2 players
28.
that would be battling that out tomorrow, but that is all based on if Tony can get a victory here against Adam.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. Some of the night sessions that I've done, which is not many, have been absolutely fantastic. I think for the players we're used to playing a little bit later at night, you know, at 9:30 in the morning is not ideal for us, I guess. I mean, more and more now on the professional circuit as well. You're getting into venues at 9 in the morning in preparation to start at 12, and that's something where you've got to be adaptable now. You know, very much in my era of darts, where you try to peak for one game a night, you know, whether it's Super League, County, or, you know, these tournaments now, you have to be
100.
peaking at all times of the day. But I'm really excited for Thursday and Friday night, and yeah, can't wait. There's some phenomenal players, and even on the afternoon, looking forward to seeing Leonard Gates. He could do a Raymond Smith this week, that's for sure. Well, very, very top-class performer.
100. Enemy require 109.
He's picked a few of these low tons off already this week. Is he going to add another one to his list?
77.
That would have retaliated the 107 that Tony Newell took out in the opening leg. This is a nice finish for a dart player. Going to get 2 darts at the double 15. That is awkward. He stayed.
75.
I think he should have moved there.
Enemy require 32.
Yeah, sometimes that camera angle can see. There's a phenomenal camera angle where you see over the heads of the players as well. It would have been interesting to see. But a chance for Warner.
Game shot in the second leg. Adam Warner.
It's 1-1. Good game. You just feel it's a bigger game for Warner this time, don't you? If he can get in the mix with them 2 tomorrow.
Game
I think even as us as commentators and as viewers, it'll be wonderful to see the 3 of them fighting for that top spot.
Well, it's a bigger game for Warner because he's got 2 different types of motivation here. He's got his intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, where Tony Newell is just all about himself and pride, I think, in this one, where we mentioned when we listened to Adam's interview this morning,
60.
when he talked about, well, actually, when I saw that I could get like a ranking list and I could see that sort of develop, I could try and qualify for things off the back of this ranking, that it shows where his motivation was, especially when he then started going into talking about prize money and things like that. These are all extrinsically motivated comments. So, yeah, I fully agree that this game is big for Adam because he is motivated by those factors, and he'll certainly be motivated by trying to win this group.
Yeah, you can just tell by what you see there, he's enjoying every moment, and why not?
100.
I think it's great to see. I didn't know an awful lot. I could write all day about the 3 Dutch players because I've played them so many times. But with someone like Adam, and just to sit here for a couple of days, reminds me a little bit of Jacques Labra last time I played, and Andreas Harrison. You know, I knew them guys, but when you're sitting here for 5 hours a day and watching them play 15 games, you sort of get to know their games inside out, and them as a player and as a personality. And he can hold his head above the parapet because he's been an absolute credit to himself and the ADC.
45. Adam, you require 146.
This is all about the setup with Tony back on
84.
201. Not happy with that one, and that's because 62 is one of those first shots where you might need to use all 3 darts, especially, well, if you don't get that first dart right. That first dart has to be a treble. Well, you're only getting 1 dart on the double, despite the fact that 62 looks quite gettable. Tony Newell, though, going to leave himself quite far back unless he can find a treble.
40.
He's just a man of frustration right now, Matt, isn't he?
62.
Yeah, it's not going right, and I don't think he quite knows how to put it right at the moment.
Yeah, I like that.
46. Tony require 161.
He's not blown on his hands as much. I heard as I walked through that he was feeling the cold a little bit.
60.
He can come in my jacuzzi in here. There's plenty of bubbles being done in here, that's for sure. Geordie, if you're listening, I don't know how you put up with this guy.
No score.
That is unlucky.
Tony require
I didn't think he could miss.
101.
I thought if he comes right and he throws across, there is no way he can miss this one. He's hit the outside of the flight. This is still on for Tony. He's a treble 20 for tops, but again, he's just striking that figure of someone who doesn't know the answers.
Yeah. And that's not being insulting. What's happening there is that first dart, and to the to the naked eye there, it looks
16.
like the treble 20, but he throws on such an angle that he barely could see the treble 20 there. So he's not the type of guy to be so insulting and go bull bull. He just felt it was the right thing to do. He needs to nail this double 2. It's been kind of many of the players today.
12. Tony require 42.
Well, to grind one out. 2 8s.
26.
It's just not happening.
Enemy
It's not happening for Tony today. And sometimes you've just got to write a day off, and certainly when you've got 3 more days ahead of you, you've not got time to dwell on what's happened today. It's all about
on the third leg.
tomorrow. Tomorrow
Adam
will come.
Warner.
Tomorrow will happen. So will Thursday and Friday. So you can only look forward, and that would be advice to Tony Newell.
It's Tony
it's a very, very privileged position to be playing darts. Very privileged, whether you're a professional player or you get an opportunity like these guys have got. But he looked a lonely figure there at the back, and like I said, I know that feels like going to be a really lonely place. I don't know if he's down here on his own, but sometimes just a phone call to the family or something, because, look, it's not the end of the world, but right now you're feeling that it is, and you know there's something not clearly not right, not at your best this week. But I've seen players in this MODUS Super Series have 3 days and then come out fighting on the Thursday and Friday. And if I get a chance to, have a word with him, that's the kind of things I'd be saying, because he's got class, and he's playing well at the moment. He's just off winning the ADC championships. I mean, it's the form is there. Just some days it doesn't happen.
40.
You mentioned there, you said it's not the end of the world, and you'll hear people say things, oh, it's only a game of darts, but it's more than that. He has committed
60.
his lifestyle to practice and prepare and get ready for this event and other events. And when you come and it doesn't happen, you question that, don't you? You question, well, what was all that time for? Why did I miss all those events? What have I, do I still want to do? You get all these sort of questions going, and it's that resilience that you need. And he's certainly got that resilience. I mean, to come through Q School 3 times, he missed out on getting a tour card for a 4th time on the back of count-back rule.
3 legs.
43.
3 legs, he said.
And then to come back from that and then go into the ADC tour and winning titles in there, it's just a sign that he has that resilience. It's just, how does he bring that across on a consistent basis to allow him to show his ability?
Get up, he shouts. Well, get up. When people drop low like this, I always feel that there's a sign of tension, weakness,
85.
anxiety within yourself, and that's how sometimes you can throw low. And them last couple of darts there were through with just disappointment, and pings it right in the treble 20.
59.
Like you said, he's probably trialed and errored a lot of things, but I am not convinced the equipment is right for Tony Newell. The angles of the darts, the inconsistency, the dropping low, all what we're seeing here. The third dart there, the angle of that. The flight is not helping with that 26-gram dart. It's just not controlled.
And the last thing he wants right now is for us to go double 16 for Adam. He's just quietly and effectively getting on with his job. And right now, Adam, it's just about the 2 points.
113.
Sometimes you get dragged down by the trials and tribulations of your opponent. If I was Adam right now, as he looks for that treble 19, he'd be thinking, surely not.
95. Adam, you require 32.
I thought there was something I really fancied the way we'd done a full assessment there. That double 18 was going to go in.
Game shot on the 4 flag. Adam Warner.
Well, that's the breaker throw, and Adam is now one leg away from the points and keeping himself in the running.
Fifth
Not
leg, it's
just
Adam to
when we
throw
talk about Group B,
first.
but in
Game on.
terms of winning this group.
And big thank you to my co-commentator, Matt Edgar. You'll be seeing him get on the balcony in a couple of seconds.
140.
Doing an analysis of the day. And he'll be back tomorrow with me for the very exciting third day. Even more exciting if Adam can get through this leg, or certainly through this match, because it will be a three-way fight for that top spot. And that makes the day really, really exciting.
57.
I think for Tony, it's just like, I'm a dart player, get me out of here. He'll be feeling right now. He needs to find a reset.
85.
Probably goes and have a nice meal or something like that, I'd recommend. Speak to the family, come back fighting, because Thursday and Friday, everyone starts on 0. And it's been done before. And they're the positives that someone in his corner must be telling him. Well, if anyone's a friend of Tony watching now, send him a message. Keep the positives. Thursday, Friday is a new day.
80.
From Adam from here, just keep it simple. Nice and straight, perfect dart. I'd use the 25 here.
140.
But what that does there, the confidence of the man, leaves 81, a 2-dart combination. Tony might go downstairs. That's a sign for me he's not 100% thinking.
81.
Because going downstairs would have left the 120. It does mean that Adam's probably going to have to use the bull if he doesn't hit the treble here now. So that leaves 62. But double 13 for the match. And a wonderful, wonderful finish. And a great conclusion to Adam Warner. A guy many of us didn't know an awful lot about before he started this week. But he's right in the mix with the big hitters of Chris Landman and top of the table, Richard Veenstra. And already I'm excited for tomorrow. It's going to be a fascinating day. Fascinating competition to see who gets top spot. And it's over to Chris and Matt for their analysis of the day.
Yeah, the race is well and truly on, but the top of the tree is occupied by Richard Veenstra after he won that penultimate match. And yeah, he really lit up the group today, didn't he, Matt?
Yeah, I did say at the start of the day that I thought Richard Veenstra was going to be the man that made the move, and he is. He's top of the table. I do think he's going to stay there. We're probably going to have a bit of stress, a bit of drama tomorrow, because that is very tight at the top. Chris Landman and Adam Warner really chasing him down, but I do think Veenstra's going to stay there come the end of tomorrow.
Yeah, how impressed have you been with Adam Warner? He signed off with a victory there, an ADC qualifier, one of two, the one who we knew the least about in all fairness, but he's certainly making himself a talking point, isn't he?
Well, I think if we was all honest and we look at that table now and we say 10 games, 7 victories, who really expected that? I didn't expect that at the start of the day. Glenn Durrant didn't expect that. People close to him might have expected that because they've seen that. So when we're talking about him as much as we are, I think that answers the question itself and how impressed we all have been with Adam Warner.
Didn't expect lights to be shining on that Christmas jumper, but what I have come to expect is Edgar's top tips coming in. So while we're here, let's get it for tomorrow. Do you expect Veenstra to go on and win the group from this point?
Yep, again, so at the start of the day, I think this group's just going to literally extend in terms of where the people are in the top 3 and the bottom 3. I just saw that divide coming through, and it is. I do think Veenstra keeps this going. I think he wins 4 out of 5 games tomorrow, and I think that's going to be enough.
There we go. You have it here first from our expert tipster, Matthew Edgar, who will be back with us, and Glenn Durrant tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. for the conclusion of Group A, where there is a free horse race for finals night. It gets underway on Sporty Stuff TV and the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. See you tomorrow.